So, you're thinking about business school? That's a huge step. And chances are the GMAT is on your mind. It's a major hurdle for sure, but getting ready for it doesn't have to cost you a fortune. In this explainer, we're going to break down exactly how you can conquer the GMAT using some of the best free prep resources out there. The GMAT, just hearing the name can be a little intimidating, right? It's a big test with a big reputation. But the real question is, are you ready for the challenge? I'm betting the answer is yes, and we're about to walk through exactly how you can get there. All right, so here's our game plan. First up, we're going to get to know the test itself, what makes it tick. Then we'll talk about the incredible power of practice, and I'll show you a whole toolkit of free resources. After that, we'll look at how to get a real competitive edge, and we'll wrap it all up with a simple action plan so you can get started right away. Okay, let's start with the absolute basics. What exactly is this thing called the GMAT? Well, it stands for the Graduate Management Admission Test, and you can think of it as the gold standard for business schools all over the world. Its whole job is to see if you're ready for an MBA program by testing some key skills, like how you handle analytical thinking, quantitative reasoning, and, of course, verbal communication. And here's a look under the hood. The whole exam is 210 minutes long, and it's split into 4 different sections. You've got a 30-minute essay, which is pretty straightforward, but then you hit the real endurance tests, 2 75-minute marathons, one for quantitative and one for verbal. Just understanding the structure right here, that's your first step to mastering the pace of the test. So, knowing the layout of the test is one thing, but actually beating it? Well, that comes down to one core strategy that pretty much every expert out there agrees on. And you don't have to take my word for it. The experts at Manhattan Review put it perfectly. Using practice questions isn't just, a good idea. It is an essential component of your prep. It's really the foundation that your entire study plan should be built on. But why does it work so well? What's the magic here? Well, practice is way more than just rehearsal. It builds your confidence, for one. It teaches you specific strategies for those really tricky questions. And, this is so important, it shows you the test's potential traps before you're sitting there with the clock ticking. You're basically learning the secrets of the test before you even walk in the door. Okay, so we're all on the same page. Practice is king. And the best part? You don't need to empty your wallet to do it. So let's open up your free practice toolkit and see what's inside. All right, the first thing you've got to do is find your focus. That means you need to drill down and work on specific types of questions, the very building blocks of the exam. And this is where you can get really specific. There are dedicated question banks out there for every single skill. So whether you need to sharpen up your problem solving or really master the logic of something like multi-source reasoning, you can find free online tools to target exactly where you need the most work. Now, once you've spent some time drilling down on those individual skills, it's time to level up. This is where you put it all together and simulate the real experience, complete with that ticking clock. And the great thing is, you don't have to dive into the deep end right away. You can ease into it. You can start with a short micro-test, just to get a feel for the format. Then, when you're ready, move up to the mini-test to get a rough score estimate. And finally, when you really want to see where you stand, the full test will give you the most accurate simulation of test day. And this is what it actually feels like. See, it's not just about the questions themselves, it's about the whole timed online environment. Getting comfortable with things like that countdown clock and knowing how to navigate the test, that's a huge part of being prepared. The more comfortable you are with the interface, the less stress you'll feel on the big day. So, you've practiced the questions. You've run the simulations. Now what? How do you get a real competitive edge? Well, it's all about practicing smarter, not just harder. It really all comes down to this one question. Are you just getting answers right? Or do you have any idea how your performance stacks up against everyone else who's competing for that same spot in business school? Now, this is where things get really cool. A tool like this one from Manhattan Review gives you some incredible intelligence. Instead of just a simple right or wrong, it actually shows you what percentage of other people chose each answer. This lets you spot the common traps, the popular wrong answers, and it helps you see how your own thinking compares to your competition. That is the difference between simple practice and a real strategy. All right, we've covered what the test is, why practice is so incredibly powerful, and the best free tools to get the job done. Now let's pull it all together into a clear, simple plan to get you to your top score. It really just boils down to these 4 steps. Step 1, dive into those question banks to build your foundation. Step 2, take a simulation test to get a baseline score. Step 3, analyze your performance to see how you stack up against the competition. And step 4, honestly the most important step of all, start. Today, right now. Because at the end of the day, this isn't just about a test score, is it? It's about a key that can unlock some major doors to your future. So the only question left is, what are you going to unlock with yours?